All right, so with the Tokyo Olympic Games coming up, there has been a bunch of Olympic trials and qualifying events going on, and there have been a plethora of stories developing from this. I mean, it's the Olympics. There's always stories, uh, whether it pertains to politics or whatever else, that emerge from these events. And so the latest is one that, or maybe it's not the latest. I'm a little bit late on this story. Sorry, but I want to talk about this because it relates to something. It relates to a particular issue that's extremely prominent in our political times today. So there's a track sprinter, an American track sprinter by the name of Sha'Carri Richardson. I hope I said that correctly. She has been suspended due to testing positive for past marijuana use. So I have an article from Reuters that details the following. I won't read the whole thing, I'll just give you a gist of what happened. So American sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson, expected to be one of the biggest draws at the Tokyo Olympics, will miss the 100 meters at the Games after accepting a 1-month ban for testing positive for cannabis during her U.S. trials victory in June. I just want to pause for a second and say that this girl is ridiculously fast. Like, she's really good at what she does. So the United States Anti-Doping Agency, the USADA, confirmed the suspension on Friday, though the 21-year-old still has a chance of running in the Olympic relay event. So she can't do the 100-meter, but she can do the relay, maybe. The positive test came at the U.S. Olympic trials when Richardson underlined her credentials as a serious gold medal contender by winning the 100-meter in 10.86 seconds. Like I said, she's no joke. The women's 100-meter event in Tokyo starts on July the 30th, 2 days after Richardson's ban ends. But the adverse finding means her Olympic qualifying results at the trials, which offer automatic places to the first 3 qualified athletes in each event, are annulled. The rules are clear, but this is heartbreaking on many levels, USADA CEO Travis Tygart said. Hopefully her acceptance of responsibility and apology will be an important example to us all that we can successfully overcome our regrettable decisions despite the costly consequences of this one to her. So, now she came out and she has, like, her response to this has been absolutely amazing. I mean, she has been so complicit and she has just completely owned up to it. And her reasoning for engaging in the practice of smoking marijuana was that she was going through tough times. I believe she was dealing with the death of her mother, I think it was. And that doesn't need to be explained. That's a devastating situation. And so she turned to cannabis. She turned to marijuana, something that's completely harmless, I guess, to ease the tensions and emotions that she was dealing with as she was dealing with the death of her mother or whatever. And the place where she smoked this cannabis, get ready for this, was Oregon. Oregon, a place where cannabis is completely legal. Oregon, by the way, if you aren't aware, has effectively decriminalized all drugs. I mean, that's absolutely amazing, but that's a topic for a different video. And what this has done, her suspension here, it has sparked, and rightfully so, an outcry on social media about the legalization and criminalization of cannabis use. I mean, it sparked these debates and everybody's talking about it. And see, the thing with marijuana is that the people of the United States are largely united, I would say, on this issue. There are some people that deviate from the majority, but the majority of people would like to legalize marijuana. Every time marijuana comes up for a ballot initiative to get legalized or decriminalized in any specific state, it wins. It wins. They vote to either legalize it or decriminalize it. I actually made a video about the direct ballot initiative. I believe it was in Mississippi when it got passed to be decriminalized, and the Supreme Court stepped in and blocked it. I made a video about that. I mean, that's democracy in peril right there. But you see the trend. Every year or every couple of years, state after state, they have a direct ballot initiative asking the question, would you want legalized marijuana or decriminalized marijuana? And it always passes. And state after state, they're doing this. But at the federal level, it's still illegal. And to put the icing on the cake here, Joe Biden was asked about this. And he was asked about his opinion on the Sha'Carri Richardson suspension. This is what he had to say. The rules are the rules. I was really proud of the way she responded. That's what he had to say. That's what the most progressive president since FDR had to say about Sha'Carri Richardson getting suspended for smoking marijuana. The drug warrior, the author of the crime bill himself, the tough on crime guy, of course that's what he had to say. Why would he have to say anything differently? Why would he have to say anything differently? And the thing that pisses me off the most is that this is a time, I mean, you just became the president of the United States. You're old. You've done a lot of bad things. You were pro-Iraq war. I mean, the list goes on of things. I mean, this guy has negatively impacted the lives of so many people. And he's the leader of the free world, and he has a chance to change things, at least to the effect that he can, and kind of turn things around and say, you know what, I was a tough on crime guy, I was a tough on drugs guy. She shouldn't have been suspended for that. Did you know that he can legalize marijuana? There's been all this talk about the filibuster and how the Democrats are, their hands are tied behind their backs and they can't do anything. There are so many things that you can do simply with the presidency. You can legalize marijuana. You can take it off the banned substance list. He can do that. You can eliminate student loan debt. You can free all the nonviolent drug offenders. You should end the drug war, something that disproportionately affects black people and minorities in general. I mean, all of these are things that he can actively do, but he's just not doing because he doesn't really believe in it. And you can tell he doesn't believe in it because of this response right here. And of course, you had people, warriors for things like this, such as AOC. I think she actually wrote a letter to the USADA about why this decision was egregious. But the thing is that I actually don't know about this. I had to do some extra research, but the World Anti-Doping Agency has deemed THC a substance of abuse, right? And so, and they say it's frequently abused in society outside the context of sport, which is absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous. I mean, the rep that marijuana gets, it's so bad. I don't understand why. And there's no scientific evidence to back it up. It's just what people think about it. And that's it. They just consider it something bad because I guess they associate the people that use it with the effects of the drug, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But anyway, my thing is, if it were somehow legalized everywhere across the country at the federal level, it was taken off the banned substance list, the World Anti-Doping Agency could still enforce their own rules because they're their own entity, correct? I'm not really so sure about that. But I mean, in response to public pressure, I'm sure that if it were legalized, then they would change the rules because we've seen it time and time again. In response to, if we really put the pressure on these agencies and institutions and we keep the activism going, which is so important at times like this, stories like this should fuel the activists for legal marijuana, legal cannabis everywhere across the country. It should. Legal drugs in general, because I believe in flat out freedom in the truest sense. The freedom to be able to do whatever you want with your body, put whatever you want in your body, even if I don't like the particular drug. Okay? So I thought that this was an amazing story. I truly feel bad for this young lady for not being able to participate in the specific event that seems like she excels the most at. Joe Biden's response was a complete letdown, and it was just really expected of him because he is, in fact, a complete letdown. But we need to keep the activism up. We need to keep these types of conversations going. We need to legalize marijuana. We need to do it quick. We need to do it fast. And we need to do it in a hurry.